leave you with a message tonight that tells you that if we don't get our fiscal house in order, we in the next 10 years are destined to become second to countries like China. But what are the signs of America in decline? Okay? First of all, it's the national debt. Some people want to define it as the treasury bills that are in the public's hands. That's approximately $10 trillion. But that does not include the $5 trillion, and it's going up in total to 16 by the end of the year, that's in the Social Security Trust Fund. Those are treasury bills that are not owned by the public, but we took the money out of the trust fund, spent it on other things, and we put a private type of treasury bill there. That's got to be replaced. Why? The baby boomers want their pensions. And that money now has to get out. This year, for the first time in 40 years, Social Security and Medicare are taking in less than they're paying out. That's a danger sign. That's a danger sign. Because that means that that's got to be collected later, and that's again going to be a debt on the next generation. So the total debt by the end of this year, treasury bills, is going to be $16 trillion. Now, guess what the gross domestic product of the United States of America is? You know what GDP is? It's the sum total of all economic activity, services, goods. It's approximately $15.5 trillion as we stand. That's what the total debt is. So we're right now, the bonded debt, the stuff that you know about, the stuff that's on the books, is 100% of the total productivity, gross domestic product of the United States. Now, would you believe that's the good news? Because if you calculated the liability for Social Security for people who are now living, working, some retired, actuaries do that. They got to do it for General Motors, they got to do it for General Electric, and they put it on the balance sheet. The United States doesn't do it. But if you calculated the present value of what we owe people on Social Security who are coming into the workforce, who are working alive, some are retired, and you add the Medicare to it, you're talking about another $40 trillion. 40 trillion plus 15, and then you got another 5 because off the books are the federal pensions, civil service, military, and off the books are the liabilities for the government-sponsored enterprises. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, round number, 60 trillion. What's that? 400% of gross domestic product, and we're afraid of Greece that has 150%. But what are the other signs of America in decline? Political gridlock. Would you believe we haven't had a budget now for the 4th year in a row that's been passed? Now, Obama put in a budget, you know that, and Ryan just put in his budget. Both are going to be dead on arrival. Why? Nobody agrees with anything. Why? It's an election year. So we got to wait a whole year now until a president's elected. And then we're going to start going back to business. China doesn't have to do that. They control everything. And by the way, when you look at those treasury bills, they have $2 trillion worth of our treasury bills. We are spending money we don't have, we're borrowing from countries we don't trust, and we're putting the American dream in jeopardy. Now, where are we going as a country? You know what Thomas Jefferson said? A government that's big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take everything you have. Yep. So, why am I a small government fiscal conservative? Because I want to see the government close to the people, where it's accountable, where it's transparent, where you can change it. Like school districts, when you can vote on the budget. You can't do that when you have programs growing in Washington. What has the Obama administration done? Made the federal government the paymaster for almost everything. That's wrong. So there's a lot of reasons why we are in decline. Education. Look at this. We used to be number 1. We're now number 20 from K to 12. Infrastructure. Only now are they talking about $50 billion in infrastructure. They want to rebuild Tappan Zee Bridge. We should have started that 4 years ago when we had the problem with the fiscal crisis. Let me conclude by saying there are answers. There's no question. We got to do some things that will change the curve. I think Congressman Ryan is trying to do that. But I and know that our system is not working. Why should we wait a whole year to elect a president to do anything? I'm going to be bold and say something. Why should we have one term for president, 6 years? Why do we need to have 2 4-year terms? Why don't we raise the House of Representatives to 4 years from 2? There's too much time being spent running around raising money trying to get elected. It's too inefficient. Don't you agree? We got to change it.
2 times vote, that's it.
Now, why am I a small government conservative? The word is subsidiarity. What does that mean, subsidiarity? Don't let the federal government do what the states can do. Don't let the states do what the localities can do. Why? Because when you put government too far from the people, it becomes inefficient. It becomes a large bureaucracy. It's not accountable anymore. And you can't change it. You can't control it. And we are getting too big in Washington. We got to move some of that stuff to the states. Now, what do we move? We got to redefine the federal government. Certainly, national security is federal. You can't change that. Nuclear energy, environmental stuff. You can't change that. But Department of Education, that should be done by the states.
Get rid of it.
And the same thing with the Department of Energy. You don't really need that. In fact, we started the Department of Energy in 1977. Why? To become independent of foreign oil. And in those days, under Nixon, we were 30% dependent. Now we're over 50. It's not working. Get rid of it. But 16,000 people are in the Department of Energy. I can go on and on. In any case, let me conclude by saying America is a great place. The reason I do this is that somebody has got to wake up America.
That's right.
I think we've become too complacent. We cannot be complacent. We have to understand that this, in a way, I don't want to call America the Titanic, but they didn't see that. And I don't believe we're seeing what's really going on today, and that debt bond could go off. If you want my book, $10 contribution to Truth in Government. If you want to give it to your kids, you can have it for $5. Send it to them. If they're in school, send it to them. Let them read it, because they've got to get